Hey everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. So cruising around as a passenger today in the car, and I'm using my GoPro. So I'm a business person first, I own a lot of research sites, and therefore sometimes my videos take a backseat to real world stuff, right Chris?
Sure.
So we just dropped off a patient because our coordinators were busy, and yeah, we like to lead by example, right?
This is exactly right.
Get down in the trenches with the employees. So anyways, today's question I'm doing from the car. I hope you don't mind. And let me just read it. And by the way, if you're new, first of all, welcome. All right, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to the blog. And you can send me any question, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I'll get back to all of you guys. You can also call or text me 949-415-6256. And if the question is good enough, and I think other people might get some value out of it, then I will create a video where I keep you anonymous, unless you specifically ask otherwise, all right? So let me read this person's email, and maybe you can help me out with this, Chris, right? We have a captive co-host right now, right? You have no choice.
This is true.
All right, so the email says, we've been doing clinical trials for 10 years, multi-specialty. We have about 80 PIs, so they're in a hospital. This is a hospital setting, right? A non-profit, or let me see. Non-profit hospital-based research department. Our physicians are not as engaged as one would hope, as they are all running private practices. So first of all, let me stop you right there. Most PIs at a hospital or at a clinic or anywhere else are going to fall in this category, right? They're not engaged. You have to actively do it, right? So that's
their private clinic.
Yeah.
That they're doing the research.
If it's their private clinic, then you have a better chance of getting patients because they're in their office already. And so if you're doing the studies in their office,
you have another captive participant.
Yeah, you have another captive audience member there, captive participant.
Yeah.
So they generally do better. So here's the problem. The higher ups at the hospital, they don't understand research that well, and they've had a lot of turnover in the leadership department. So there is now a discussion on how to make us more profitable. Should we move to a CRO model? And I have to give a presentation on strategy next month on growing the business. So I need a strategy on growing the business with limited resources, and why a move to a CRO might or might not be possible due to current infrastructure. So you definitely have the infrastructure, speaking of infrastructure there, with 80 investigators. What you mentioned one thing that I find interesting is that most of your physicians have private practices. What I would do is have a satellite site at each one of their private practices for one of your studies. So let's say you're getting all the studies through the hospital. That's fine. But also have a satellite site with the same PI at his or her private practice. I think that's going to help enrollment a lot. Would you agree, Chris?
Oh, absolutely.
He says absolutely. So have the study at your hospital for a PI. Let's say you have an asthma study, right? Get it at the hospital. That's your main site. When you're doing the regulatory documents, use the PI's private practice as a satellite site. If they say no, then you obviously can't go that route, but then you have to question why you're even using this doctor as a PI. They should be a sub-I if they're not going to be contributing to the study very much. So that's one way I would go. And you have 80 doctors, so that's 80 satellite sites you have. Boom, you just expanded your business, right? How's that for a business model? I mean, that could be significant change, right?
Oh, absolutely. I would say at least you've added 50% to your revenue.
You can add at least 50% to your revenue if you get only 10 doctors to do this from your 80, all right? Another thing, you mentioned you only have like 3 staff members in the research department outside of all the doctors working on the research. That's fine. Now, there is a way you can become a CRO as well. And a CRO, all you need to do to be a CRO is to have medical monitor answer sites questions about some of the issues going on, like ongoing during the trial. And the CRO, like these medical monitors, also help the sponsor write the protocol and then adjust the protocol if needed based on safety issues that are coming up or just issues with the protocol in general. You can be a CRO and outsource all the CRAs to third-party companies. There's a lot of third-party companies out there. I know there used to be one called i3. I don't know if they're still in business or if they got acquired by INC Research, but they do exist, and there are companies out there where you can hire them to staff your CRAs so that you don't actually need to employ the CRAs. You just have a contract with the contracting company. I think there's another one called K-Force. We've had some of these monitors at our sites, right? Mm-hmm. K-Force is one where they subcontract the CRAs, so you just have a deal with the company and then they send you as many CRAs as you need. That's one way to be a CRO, so don't get intimidated by the fact that you only have 3 or 4 staff members. Oftentimes that's all you need, that and a few medical monitors and a few people who are knowledgeable enough on protocols and study design process and writing protocols to actually launch a CRO. But the first thing I would do is try my satellite site model, because you have 80 investigators, so if at least 10 of those are willing to be a satellite site at their private practice, they can get paid more, they'll be more actively involved, and they'll have more skin in the game, so to speak. That could increase your revenue, like Chris said, by 50%. Don't be intimidated. If you do want to grow and expansion is your model or your goal to be a CRO, if that's what you want to do, it's totally different than having satellite sites, right? So you can do both. You can just focus on one, or you can focus on the other. That's an executive decision that you guys have to make. Luckily, Chris and I, right, and our entire team, we have an army of people who can help you out. We do consulting, so we consult on all kinds of things, from helping companies, sites, or CROs expand, helping them get more studies, helping with protocol writing, workflow design, recruitment, building a CRO, building an SMO, all kinds of things. So I will also email you a list of our services and some of our rates, all right? So thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes, and I really think with a few tweaks you can actually add a lot of revenue to your top line. What do you think, Chris? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I would say if they're struggling with becoming profitable as a site, CRO is something way off in the future. Much better off giving your satellite site model a go first.
Yeah, alright, so put the CRO thing off as a long-term goal. Your short-term goal should be to focus on making sure that your satellite sites are stable and profitable and enrolling, and all the studies are still being funneled through the hospital. That's kind of like the mothership, and then you have all these satellite sites where additional recruitment is going to be going on, and some of the other study procedures will be going on. So focus on that first. If you need our help, we will help you with that as well. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and thanks for watching.